Okay, good morning. Hi, everyone. This is the third Conversations with a Member call. And this morning, having a conversation with Rochelle House. We're going to be discussing Rochelle's findings and results, if any, from listening to the Your Wish is Your Command series. So I'll turn this right over to Rochelle and we'll get right into this. Morning, Rochelle.
Jim. Hi, Jim. Thank you. And thank you for the great opportunity to, first of all, the material is very eye-opening. And you know how you know when you're a knower some of this stuff, but you don't have details. So that's kind of how it's rolled for me and you and my knower. But to be able to listen to this and go, oh my God, I see this. And I've found myself repeating, especially the first three, as I'm driving or working when I'm not around people, to just listen to the basics. And I did delve into the secret years ago. I was a staunch Christian for many, many years, and I got to a point where I wanted to know the truth. So I just started to ask God, what's the truth? And then I actually said, okay, I want the truth at any cost. Well, be careful what you ask for, because you'll get it. And it reminds me of that song, Losing My Religion, by REM years ago, because I was really mad when I got the truth. And I listened to a gentleman named Jason Westerfield. He was a staunch Christian for years. He disappeared, young guy, disappeared for a couple of years, and he came back, and I found him at a conference outside of church, and he said, look, I spent the last couple of years and $1 million to get the truth. I'll share with you what I found, and you do the research. And he said things way over my head, and I took notes, and I started to research it. And the culmination of that is listening to, my girlfriends and I were up the other night. We had a ball yapping and laughing, and now I don't have a voice anymore. But at any rate, so listening to Kevin Trudeau and the things he's saying, and the other guy, Mark Casio, I think is the way you say his name. First of all, the courage for these men to come forward, knowing where they came from, is stunning. I'm amazed Kevin Trudeau is still alive, let alone, I'm sorry he's in jail, but I'm so grateful to have this material. So what has happened for me since listening to it, I've just been listening to it for the last week, and the empowerment within me is, I don't feel helpless. You know, I love Thomas Williams and all he's sharing because I feel the veracity within my knower. I can feel that it's true, but it's so discouraging. I feel like I'm on a planet with a bunch of apes and I can't get off and I can't wake them up. It's amazing. I'm married to a wonderful, wonderful man. He's an amazing man. And he's a sheeple. And it's a staunch Christian sheeple at that. And so it's first of all, to find the THI group is amazing. Then I have a California group right here that's awake is doubly amazing. And then Jim, I just love you, brother. So anyway, what has happened for me since then is the despair, which I never have. I'm such a hopeful person, full of joy. I'm like the unsinkable Molly Brown. That's been me. And people call me Pollyanna, whatever. So, but to start to sink because I feel hopeless and helpless. What can I do? And then now to have this opportunity, it's like a mind blower. It's like, oh my God, this is incredible. So I haven't got to do a lot with it yet, but I always get the parking spot I want now. It's ridiculous. Just little silly things. I started to get something in my throat and I was just like, I'm not buying that. So I'm going to visualize what I want. I'm going to see it. I'm going to experience it, and I'm going to let this roll out. And the recovery is ridiculous. So I'm in little bitty victories. I did grouting. I'm a hairdresser. My part-time job is construction work. So my boss says to me, we got to get this grouting done. I want you to finish the grouting on that wall. And I'm like, I've never done grouting. He says, you can figure it out. So I went over there and I said, okay, I'm sure I can do this. And I just believed that I could. I saw that I could. And I just said to myself, okay, pull it up. And I did. And the grouting was fantastic. So that's just in a little bit that I've learned. I'm looking forward to utilizing every one of those basics because I have yet to do that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, at the precipice. And when Kevin said, look, this is just the initial part of this, I thought, oh my gosh. He said each one of these subjects I could do volumes on. Just the 4, and then he went to the 5. And I was like, oh my God, this is... So anyway, that's where I am right now. Not very far, but far for me.
Well, you took the first leap, and that was my first question, and you pretty much already answered it. I was going to ask you, what was it that prompted you to jump right into this information? Because that's a big leap, as like I just said, for a lot of people, just to be able to be in a place where I'm just going to go for it. I don't know where this is going to take me, but I'm going for it because I don't like where I'm at right now, and I want more answers. I want more, kind of like he explains on the audios. Somebody asked him that question. I want more, and that's kind of where it was for me. I was this isn't about me today. At some point, I'll get into some of my stories and have one of you interview me. But today, this is about you. So, like I said, you already explained to me, what was it that seriously, when I first made this offer, I heard you on the last call, you were smiling. And one thing I noticed that I have to mention, up until the last, let's say, 2 calls, you would come on the calls, I believe by your phone.
Yes.
Mostly. And kind of just sit and listen. Yes. You didn't turn on your video, but I knew you were there. And then, like I said, in the last week or two, or the last 2 calls, especially the last call, you came right on, video and all, and just laid out some of your experiences. And I mean, it just made me smile when I saw your face and I heard your voice, and I was just thinking, do you believe that had something to do with getting this information?
Yes. What happened, the change for me was when I first started on the calls, and the conversation was primarily about agricultural things and how can we feed the people and how in the projects. And I thought, oh my God, I don't have any ideas. I don't have anything. I mean, the only idea I have is I would like to open up a steam sauna and like a health little wet area for people because it's essential, something. Well, that's not feeding anybody. I felt, I've just felt kind of, and then I listened to these people and the things that they were sharing, and I felt inadequate. I'm just going to say it. I felt inadequate for the need. I didn't have ideas. I felt like I'd been in K-altered for all my life. And so I just didn't feel like I had much to contribute. I really didn't. And then all of a sudden, when I saw what you posted with Kevin Trudeau, and that sparked it. But even prior to that, I just said to myself, Rochelle, make a decision here, because the sweetness of these people is rare, and sweet and awake. That's a combination that's freaking rare. And so I did. I made a decision, and I said, this is stupid. I need to figure out the Zoom so I can get my face on there, because face to face does something to us inside. And when Kevin Trudeau mentioned about how, well, it started with the extraterrestrial that Thomas read, that Majestic 12 interview. And remember, the extraterrestrial said, and Thomas repeated this in the last one, I think it was, their religion was to learn, find something new. And that just zapped me. I was like, that's right. That just shot new juice into my heart of why I'm here, what it's for. Because I don't think it's bullshit, but, well, you're here because you agreed to come at this time and you got this to contribute and yada yada, babber babber. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. That's great, and it's just like a lot of fluff, and it's not any meat and potatoes. I'm a vegetarian, but you know what I mean. So, but when that extraterrestrial said that, and then Kevin Trudeau said that your teachability index is you willing to continue to learn, and not just willing, it does something to the serotonin in your brain. I know that's true, because I will tell you, I'm a hairdresser, and I'm not prissy, but I'm a girl. But when I can put together something and fix something, and I learn a new way to apply this tool or whatever, I don't care how many fingernails get broken, and I don't care how many cuts on my hand I get. There's something that saps you within your brain and your heart, and it's like a flower that just opens and you learn something new. And not only that, you want to share it with other people. So that just sparked me. I was like, that is exactly it. It moves. As we grow, the it for us will move. Like we used to say in the church, Holy Spirit is like the wind. And if you don't keep fluid, it'll be gone and you'll be sitting there like a lump on a log. So I feel like the zeitgeist for you is here and there, but you have to keep flowing with it. And that's the learning process, is that you're always growing and receiving something new that just is so good. It's just good. It's better than souffle. So
as far as the calls were concerned, is instead of sitting in the back of the class, so to speak, this information empowered you to come out. And I mean, I witnessed it. I saw it in your face, in the way you talked, and came right out and told us that great story about the healing in the church. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I only have a couple more questions.
Okay.
And you answered some of that. Okay, you already answered that. You told me that you've seen just small findings and results over the past week or two.
Yes.
And so you're still working with the information and, tweaking it and,
and then also, Jim, I want to state this. When you said that you'd utilize those principles and continue to utilize them, and you said, I listened to this stuff 500 times, and I'm sure you're still continuing to listen to it, and you said that you had results in your life. I mean, I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. So when you said that you were experiencing the results ongoing, and I could feel it in my knower that was verifiable and true, and just in the way you lead this group, that is obvious. I was like, okay, this is getting ready to get really good here.
Yeah, I've planted, like I've said, I've planted seeds all along since the beginning, and we're about a year and a half. And I knew from the beginning that eventually we were going to get to this place where people would, I won't say believe in me, but people would trust me as far as being able to give some direction. And the best way for me to do that was by offering this gift and see who would take it and run with it, because I've seen it work not only in my life, but many, many others. There were, I think, about 3,000 people involved in the Global Information Network before it was dismantled. I think it's still available, but I don't think too many of the original people participate. Kevin was really the backbone of that group, and not a leader, but the messenger, like Thomas, And I've been fortunate enough to have 3 of in my opinion, the most fantastic teachers and mentors ever on this planet. Thomas Williams being one, Kevin Trudeau and Mark Passio. I mean,
wow.
I don't have room for. Go ahead.
Did you meet these guys? Did you meet them?
Sure. I haven't met Thomas face to face, other than, we talk now and then.
Okay.
But I jumped right in with him. I've said this on the call. The reason I'm here today in this group is because of THI, obviously. And the reason I found THI was from being involved with Kevin Trudeau and the Global Information Network, because the people, once it kind of fell apart, so to speak, I still kept in touch with a lot of the people. I used to travel with these people. We traveled all over the world to just fantastic places, to go to conferences. And you had to. If you were a member, you had to go to 4 major weekend conferences around the world in just unbelievable places every year. I think it was 4. And then you had monthly conferences locally, such as me being in California. I used to, every year or 3 or 4 times a year, I'd go to conferences in Ventura, such as the Natural Cures Expo that Kevin used to put on. It was a fantastic event. Spend the whole weekend at that Marriott there right in Ventura. Just have a great time, but
I said I missed all that. Oh my God.
Yeah, Vicky said the same thing. She was in a different group at that time. But anyway, getting back to, so the people that I met by traveling, from all over the world. I forget exactly who it was, but somebody contacted me short time after, once it was all over with, around 2013, I believe, and told me about Drake. I don't know if you were ever involved with the Cosmic Voice group.
No.
Yeah, well, that's somebody called me and turned me on to him, and I started listening to him. And as you know, Thomas was his kind of his announcer, not sidekick, but he was kind of he put together the show for Drake, and I think that only lasted about a year before they fell out. And already by then, Drake's information, who I thought in the beginning was fantastic also, but I kind of fell out. His information just wasn't resonating with me anymore, and there wasn't, that belief wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so I gravitated more towards Thomas, and I don't know if you were there at the time, but they had a split, and Thomas just put it out there. He said, I think this is going to be it for this group. And then after a week, he came back and said, a lot of people have been telling me we should start our own group. And that's what he did. And this is where it's grown to in 4 or 5 years,
Wow.
and he's another one. I've said it to him. I thought I knew some stuff from what I learned from these other groups, and from going through all of Mark Passio's information and going through all of Kevin Trudeau's information. There's a lot more than just those Your Wish audios. Those are the basics. I had 5 years of training beyond that with that group, and same thing, just more information, more knowledge, So here I'm thinking I know a lot of stuff. And then I get involved with Thomas and watch him blossom into who he is today, the person he's become. It's just, I've said it to him. I said, I have no idea where your information comes from, but
it's out of this world. It's
exactly.
He's got a main line that I first heard Thomas on, I was desperate for the truth. And I have been desperate since a little girl. I used to sleep with the Bible and go, why can't I understand this thing? Everybody else seems to understand it. It doesn't make friggin' sense. So I listened to Thomas. It was on, what's that group? The Ground Crew Command Radio. He did an interview there with the Unknown Light Warrior. And I listened and I was like, who is that? That man, I could feel the vibration of what he was sharing. And I started, how at the end of the show, they mention where they're from. So I listened to him, some of his stuff on YouTube, and I was like, oh my God, this is the truth. This is the truth. And from there on, it was a year ago in March that I found, was it a year in March? No. Yes. I don't know, but it hasn't been that long. And then when they said they had the state groups, I think I looked at the time. I don't know why I didn't get involved with the state groups. I can't remember. But then I finally said, I've got to be able to do something. I want to do something. I don't want to just sit on my duffer and be a listener. And that's when I found you guys. And then I just started listening. But when I listened, you're right. When I listened to Thomas, I was just like, holy moly, where's he? And each show is like, where is he getting this? I don't care where he's getting it. This is just great. So anyway, yes.
And he just evolved into this fantastic speaker. He wasn't always like that. In the beginning, he would stumble while he was talking and didn't seem sure of himself, totally different than the person you see today, So, yeah, that's, and you mentioned common denominator for people in this group. There's more than one. And one that I've found most particular is being ex-Catholic or ex-Christian,
Yes. Yes.
I've heard so many people tell their stories, and I have to admit, I've said it before. I woke up in a Catholic church. My first awakening was in a Catholic church the day that John Kennedy was shot.
Whoa.
I was 10 years old, and we were pulled out of classrooms and put into a church. And these people these nuns and priests were telling us what they believed happened. I knew. I was 10 years old. I was sitting there and I'm going, no way. I ain't buying this. I didn't buy the overall media portrayal of what took place, And I won't say that I continued ever since then. There has been some lapse, but one awakening brought me to another one. Mm-hmm. Like a short time after that, let's say if I was 10, by the time I got drafted in the Marine Corps in 1969
oh my God.
and sent to Vietnam. I actually lived in a jungle in Vietnam uh, for 7 months.
Whoa.
And you talk about another awakening, so it was a series of serious awakenings.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I got myself into. I was just I thought I was real smart and savvy. I was really just very naive to get involved in that, but I didn't have much of a choice, really. At that age, not too many young people would take the chance of leaving the country. That was my only other choice. Leave the country, go to Canada,
Right.
till this whole thing's over with,
Right.
And because of my upbringing, I just, my draft number was 28, same as my birthday. So it was the same. It was just a bunch of synchronicities that all came together. And next thing I know, I wound up, I remember flying into Da Nang with tracer rounds going off around the plane that we were in. And as soon as we hit the ground and got out, I thought to myself, oh boy, what did I do? And I just realized right then and there, I realized this isn't right. There's something wrong here. And I realized I just need to survive this, and fortunately came back unscathed, and the rest of the story, what happened to people over there, so it's just, that's why I always say on the calls, we're protected.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
my boss, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was done.
My boss for construction is a Vietnam vet. And he's trashed. He's hollowed out and limping along in life. Really. He's such a good soul. He's a good soul. Works hard. But what has been done to him, I just love him. That's really why I work construction, because I love him and I just want to help him. And he'll tell you it's helped him a lot. Me being there, I'm not that skilled yet, but people just need to be loved because they're so crushed. And I want to be able to offer something. I'm not saying love is not great. It's amazing. But to have something like, hey, this is something you could do that will give you victories, that will change your life. It's hope. It's hope. It's not hopium. It's real. So anyway, sorry about that.
No problem. I understand completely. I live in a veteran community, and it just, as I talk to all these guys, and they're all so broken, and have been for so many years, and I just count my blessing, that I was able to not only survive the thing, but, be able to see what it was all about. Because when I got out, I didn't want any part of the military. I didn't want any part of the VA. I didn't want any part of anything. I just dropped everything that I came back with my father on the East Coast. And I drove across country, came to San Diego, never went back. I told my dad when I left, I said, if they come looking for me, because they could have, even though I was only in for 2 years because I was drafted, they can still come back after you. And, if another skirmish comes up, you're still in for, I think you have a 6-year commitment, even though I was let out after 2 years, So I told my dad, I said, here, do whatever you want with this stuff. I said, if they come knocking on the door looking for me, tell them you have no idea where I am. I could be dead.
That was wise.
Yeah. But
But Jim, look at your intent though. When you got there, you saw this was bullshit. You were just like, wait a minute,
immediately,
this is not right. And so then your intent was to survive. And you're, I don't know how many vets that I've met, because I'm 63. So I don't know how many vets that I've met that can say, okay, I got out of there pretty much unscathed. None. That's the impetus of your intent. We don't realize how powerful we are.
it was just another mind control technique, and that's what a lot of these guys are suffering from. They call it PTSD. I'm not quite sure. It's just a label as far as I'm concerned, you know. And yeah, these guys need help, but you're not going to get good help from the VA,
No.
in my opinion, because you know they're just there to babysit, you know, and provide. You know, they don't really give you any information. Whereas, you know, if they gave me the opportunity, they have a conference room right down here. If they gave me the opportunity, I'd bring all these guys in there and give them the Your Wish is Your Command CD and say, you don't need any of this other stuff. This is all you need. Go for it. Sit down, grab yourself a laptop, listen to this for 3 days, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
Go on your way. Have fun. Enjoy your life.
Yeah. That would be great.
I'm working on it.
Oh, that's good. So
okay, so with that said, do you believe that this information is vital for our group
yes,
going forward? Whether it's
yes,
creating what we decided on last Wednesday, you know, just putting out the vibration to counteract what's going on in California, or like Kimberly said, when we move on, and like you mentioned with the Eco Village projects, you know, you mentioned, well, my individual project doesn't really have anything to do with feeding the homeless or feeding the people. You know, you were more you talked more about health and wellness.
yes,
And that too is something that needs to be incorporated into these eco villages.
yes.
We discussed a lot of that months ago when we were really involved in building of the eco villages, you know, and what everybody was it was all dependent on funding, you know. Everybody was just we're waiting for the funds to be released, you know. With this information, you don't have to wait for anything.
That's right.
You create
That's
it.
right.
We create it on our own. I don't know where the money's coming from. Like he talks about, I have no idea where the money's coming from. I just know that it'll come at exactly the right time for us.
I got a quick story for you, if you don't mind indulging me, because
Go ahead.
I see that so big. Well, when I got married, I was involved in this church, and it's really kind of a cult. You know, people go, I'd never get involved in something like that. I'm too intelligent. Well, let me tell you, if you're needy enough, you'll get involved in anything. So I got involved in this group, and I won't say the name for whatever reason, and these people were supporting my wedding with my husband. They were the wedding coordinator, the location, flower girl, the DJ, et cetera, you know, all these people. So that's when I started to wake up. Great, just great. 6 weeks before the wedding, the leadership called me and said, well, because you're getting married to someone outside of our group, we're going to, because I have, you know, a 4-year degree in theology. I'll tell you stories about that. Anyway, and I was a minister, and I had a church in my home, about 30 people. So they said, well, we're going to disband your church, and, you know, you just be a regular person. And I said, I got people in my group. One lady's got lupus, and she's blind. Another guy's got diabetes, and he's blind. So how are you going to get him to these other locations? Blah, blah, blah. Well, we'll figure that out. So my desperation for those people that I loved caused me to wake up. So I called a gentleman that I knew that had been excommunicated. And I told him the story, and he said, I don't tell people what to do, Rochelle. You have the spirit. You know what to do. You know when you're knower. I think you already know. Nobody ever said that to me. That lit me on fire. And I said, that's right. I do know what to do. So when they called to say, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, I said, no, you're not. You're not coming to my house. And you're not going to do this, that, or the other. I'll let the people know. If they want to go with you guys, great. Well, these folks were tithing big money. So we had money coming through me, and I'd send it out to the ministry. So that was a whole conundrum. So in the interim, I lost my venue. I lost all the people that were going to support the wedding. And I called my husband. I said, honey, I just lost the venue as well. And my husband was like, you know what? My fiance, I can't talk to you right now. And I stopped him and I said, I'll have someplace tomorrow. You just watch. And Carl was like, okay, well, I'm not going to unbelieve. So I'm just going to support you from back here. And I did. In 24 hours, I had a better place. It was wonderful. All the things that I needed just fell into place. And it was all the impetus of my heart. It was like, I don't friggin' need that. I can do it on my own. I have it within me. And that's how it rolled. And that was like, well, what else can happen? But when you get more than one person in alignment and agreement, and this is an answer to your question about the group, is this essential information for the group? Oh, hell yes. Because it's like that scripture in the Bible says, one can chase 1,000, but two can put 10,000 to flight. When you have that concerted energy in a group, nothing stops it. I saw it in the healings. I have seen it in so many things. I have seen rain just stop so that the meeting could continue. And it would be raining all around, but not on us. And when the meeting ended, it rained where it should. I have seen incredible things. So I'm like, when I looked at this information, and then when you shared it, well, let me get this right. You shared it, and I started to look at that, because I have a couple of Kevin Judo books, and they just so propagandized him in the negative, I didn't finish reading them, because I was like, oh, this guy, this, that, and the other, but it makes sense, but oh, I don't want to get scammed, whatever. So when you put this information up, I said, I knew it. I knew that stuff was real. I knew it was good stuff, and I got talked out of it. And then for our group, which we have such a sweet group, oh my God, these people, if we get like-minded and lock elbows together, lock arms together,
We will.
not just the state, the planet, and how about our solar system while we're at it? So it's unstoppable, and this is what they're afraid of.
Absolutely.
So, yes, it's essential.
I said the same thing to Vicky. I think I asked her, so do you believe that if the majority of the collective around the world had this information, would we be in this situation presently? Absolutely not, because nobody's creating anything. All they're doing is listening, all down the line, including veterans. Like I said, they're just babysitting these guys,
Yep.
that run to the VA every time they get a little headache or something, and what do they do? I don't go there often, but the times that I have been there, all they offered me was meds.
Yep. And
I think the last time I went years ago, the guy was trying to give me a shingles vaccine. I was just like, you got the wrong guy, buddy.
Yeah. I think they're still harvesting on these guys. I really do.
Absolutely. It's a shame, but it's the same problem. The vets are no different than the collective sheeple out there. You see it every day in San Diego and everywhere else for that matter.
Yeah. It's so discouraging when I go into a shopping, facility. I got a shield thing now. I'm not wearing the effing mask. They can kiss my rectum because I'm not going to. But I walk in bold as brass without it on. But now the stupid black conundrum thing, it's like they're afraid to say something to me. I'm almost like a vomit. Thomas's favorite GIF, 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 or whatever it's called, the vomiting
The
guy.
vomiting.
The first time I saw that, I said, "Oh yeah." That's how I feel, because this whole black light. I'm like, people, can't you just see it's divide and conquer? I talk to my friends that are black or my clients that are black, and I go, just stop it. Just, can you just see this? This is like Planned Parenthood in every urban city. It's the same thing. It's divide and conquer and harvesting. My clients are like, I wish you'd just shut the frog up so I could get my hair done in peace.
And Thomas, he's such a gentle soul. Sometimes I want to say to him, stop being so nice, and then other times he will come out and lay it out. But you mentioned Mark Passio. At noon every Sunday, if you go to whatonearthishappening.com, he puts on a 3-hour podcast.
What?
That it might not affect you, but other people, it'll knock them right out of their chairs when you hear what this guy has to say. And you talk about that vomit thing. He uses it too, and he puts voice to it, explaining how moronic these sheeple are that are out there, these indoctrinated idiots that are out there, walking around with these diapers on their face, contaminated diapers on their face, giving other people, a problem for not participating,
Yes.
It's not even funny. But this guy, he doesn't put it gently.
No.
Is what I'm saying.
No, he doesn't. He's in your face. Again,
that's why these are my favorite people, because they all provide, it's not the same information, like Kevin Trudeau's information is about learning how to use the law of attraction to your advantage. We've all been using it all of our lives. We just haven't been using it correctly.
Right.
Once you find that out, life just becomes a playground. You can create whatever you want, money becomes irrelevant, and it's, material objects become irrelevant, and eventually it's who you become, and
I think my biggest, and even as a kid I was like that. If I saw a bug in a spot where it was going to die, I hike up and down the stairs at the beach. That's where I was that one day, for exercise, because the gyms are stupid right now. I'm not exercising with effing mask on my face. So stupid. Then there's no showers, no saunas, no steam, no hot tub, no pool. What are the things that supposedly kill this virus? Chlorine and heat. But no, you can't have that. So I go up and down these stairs at the beach at this stupid hotel they're building right here in Encinitas, but 93 steps. And as I'm going up and down the stairs, I see these people there at the beach with flipping masks on at the beach. I'm like, dude, this is the healthiest place you can be. Just stop it.
Kimberly kind of explained what that's all about. They're doing stuff to the ocean and to the shorelines. If you remember on the last call, she talked about it. And my comment to her was, so that's why they don't want people going to the beach.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on offshore. And
do we know what they're doing, what it is?
She does. I'm sure she'll tell us. But talking about, go ahead.
Well, I know that's true because a year ago, maybe it was over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I was walking on the beach, and I'm not really a beach person, but I decided I'm going to take my shoes off and get in the water. And I swear, Jim, I felt the ocean. I felt her say to me, don't, because I'm sick. And the vibration that I received from that ocean dropped me to my knees, crying. So they're doing something. Yeah. There used to be birds patrolling, so many birds. Yeah. Now if I see a pelican, I just want to leap for joy.
That's why you see the massive wash up of different kinds of fish and dolphins, and over the last, 5, 6, 7 years, it's been going on, whales. But on a better note, my daughter, like you, she does CrossFit training. And as soon as this happened, I kid her all the time because this whole thing started on her birthday, March 13th. Friday the 13th, I remember going to her house for her birthday, and I told her, "What did you do?" that's when this whole thing started. So right away, they shut the gym down. She had a CrossFit gym down in Point Loma, and the guy, out of fear of reprisal, shut the gym down. So my daughter and some of her friends and members from the gym, they just told this guy, "Okay, great. We're not quitting. Let us use the equipment. If it's just going to sit there, let us use the equipment." And they started their own gyms in different places. Oh, yeah, they started their own gyms in different places. And a lot of I don't know if you know, but a lot of the CrossFit gyms haven't reopened and probably won't. In fact, it probably shut down the whole organization.
Yes.
But these kids didn't stop. They just, she has a friend that has a warehouse that he distributes fresh lobster and different kinds of seafood around the county. So he just told them, "This is a huge warehouse. You can take part of it and set up your equipment right in here," which they did. It's all enclosed. Nobody bothers them.
Right.
And then they have it in people's homes, that have backyards and whatnot. Did the same thing.
Right.
These kids didn't skip a beat.
Good.
And that's what people need to do. Because none of this stuff is lawful. As you know, if you've been listening to any of, what's her name, Peggy Hall,
yes.
None of this stuff is lawful. It's just guidelines, but people, they got their heads so far into mainstream media that they can't see the light of day.
Yep. I said to a young man the other day, I went into a little market. He says, "Well, you have to wear that mask." I said, "No, I really don't." "Well, it's the law." I said, "No, it's not the law. Just because you posted that on the door or your boss posted it on the door of the store doesn't make it a law. The governor has no right to mandate that. You just think it's the law. You could get sued. Would you like to get sued?" "Well, no, ma'am."
Really?
I said, "Well, then you should leave me alone."
Yeah.
And he did.
Like to have a lean slapped on your ass?
Right. Would you like me to own the store?
Exactly. Good stuff. Well, Rochelle, maybe we should leave that on a good note.
Okay.
Leave this call on a good note. And I have to thank you so much for doing this with me. And we will do it again.
Okay.
And I don't know who's next, but whoever steps up and says they've jumped into the information, we'll get them on here.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. Oh my gosh. I got to tell you, I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm like, "Oh, I could hardly sleep last night." I'm like, "What the heck? Stop it."
Me too. I couldn't wait to see your excitement.
I'm not one of your mellow people. You'll see.
I'm glad to hear that.
I have to calm myself down sometimes and go, just chill. But
glad to hear it, and I'm glad you're enjoying all this.
It's great. Thank you. Thank you for the pricelessness of what you presented. I'm so grateful to you.
Thank you for taking advantage.
Yes, my pleasure. Okay, Jim. So
okay.
I guess I'll see you on Wednesday.
Yes. Have a great day. Have a great week. I'm going to the beach.
Okay. Me too later. Blessings, brother.
Blessings.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.